Hello, and welcome to the Mountain Valor podcast. I'm Kat Wittenberger, and today we're going to dive into dependent benefits after the veteran dies. We are specifically talking about dependency and indemnity compensation, referred to as DIC, the Survivor's Pension Program, and the Survivor Benefit Plan, usually just called SBP. Now, I know these topics aren't necessarily the most exciting or something a lot of people want to focus on before they have to, but again, the more you arrange and understand before a crisis happens, the better off your family will be. As always, links will be included in the show notes for you to more easily find the most up-to-date information. Everything I say is current as of October 2024. I can't predict how these will change in the future. Like most benefits, the line between if a dependent is eligible for a payment often depends on if the death of the veteran is considered service-connected or not. This comes up for quite a few benefits, and the dependent can talk to the medical examiner to add specifics if needed to the death certificate. You can also submit evidence showing that the cause of death directly ties to an illness or issue that has already been determined to be service-connected when applying. It's not always an easy process, but it is one you can work through. The supporting documents needed for these benefits include marriage certificate, death certificate, DD-214, the VA disability determination letter, and potentially additional medical documentation showing how the death was related to a service-connected disability. And yes, I also find it amusing that you have to submit the VA benefits decision letter back to the VA itself when applying. Don't assume whoever is reviewing your record can access it. We here at Mountain Valor highly encourage using a veteran benefit office to help with all of these benefits, specifically a service officer with the Virginia Department of Veteran Services. They can help you with multiple benefit applications, are familiar with the forms, and have the training to help you. They also know how to connect the dots to help ensure there is a service-connected finding when it makes sense. These folks have seen it all, and they are there to support you at no cost. All right, we're going to start with DIC. If you are the surviving spouse, child, or parent of a service member who died in the line of duty, or the survivor of a veteran who died from a service-related injury or illness, you may be eligible to get a tax-free monetary benefit called the VA Dependency and Indemnity Compensation. As a surviving spouse, you may be eligible for these benefits or compensation if you meet these requirements. One of these must be true. You lived with a veteran without a break until their death, or if you are separated, you weren't at fault for the separation. Now, I tried to find a definition of that, and I am not actually sure how you prove or disprove that. So again, that's where you're going to try to go to a VSO and ask them that question. All right. One of these must also be true. You married the veteran within 15 years of their discharge from the period of military service during which the qualifying illness or injury started or got worse, or you were married to the veteran for at least 1 year, or you had a child with that veteran. If you remarried, you can receive or continue to receive compensation if one of these describes you. You remarried on or after December 16th, 2003, and you were 57 years of age or older. You remarried on or after January 5th, 2021, and you were 55 years of age or older at the time you were remarried. You'll need to provide evidence with your claim showing that one of these descriptions is true. Evidence may include documents like military service records, doctor's reports, and medical test results. You're going to need to provide evidence showing that one of these is true. The veteran died from a service-connected illness or injury, or the veteran didn't die from a service-connected illness or injury, but was eligible to receive VA compensation for a service-connected disability rated as totally disabling for a certain period of time. If the veteran's eligibility was due to a rating of totally disabling, they must have had this rating for at least 10 years before their death, or since their release from active duty and for at least 5 years immediately before their death, or for at least 1 year before their death if they were a former prisoner of war. Surviving children are also eligible for DIC if all of these are true. You aren't married, you aren't included on the surviving spouse's compensation, and you are under the age of 18 or under the age of 23 if attending school. Surviving parents are also sometimes eligible for DIC benefits. They are eligible if you are the biological, adoptive, or foster parent of the veteran and your income is below a certain amount. Note: if you are the survivor of a veteran who died from COVID-19 and a service-related condition made their illness worse, you may be eligible for VA DIC. So how does this work? There's some math involved with DIC, unfortunately. All right, if you are the surviving spouse of a veteran and you have gone through the gamut of proving that you are eligible for DIC, your monthly payment rate right now is $1,612. Now, you may be eligible for added amounts. So, if the following is true, then you may qualify for an additional benefit. If the veteran had a VA disability rating of totally disabling, including for individual unemployability, for at least the 8 full years leading up to their death, and you were married to the veteran for those same 8 years, you're eligible for what's called the 8-year provision, and that is an additional $342. All right, so let's say you have a disability and need help with regular daily activities like eating, bathing, or dressing. Well, you're eligible for aid in attendance, which is an additional $399.54. If you can't leave your house due to a disability, you're eligible for an additional housebound allowance, which is $187. Now, if you have 1 or more children who are under 18, you're eligible for both a transitional benefit and a DIC apportionment rate. So that transitional benefit is $342 for the first 2 years after the veteran's death. And that apportionment rate is $399 for each eligible child. So how the payment works. Say you're a surviving spouse of a veteran, and your monthly rate starts at that $1,612.75. Then you add each additional benefit you qualify for. So in this example, we're going to talk about the total monthly payment for someone with 2 children under 18 and who qualifies for the 8-year provision and aid in attendance. So your total monthly payment for the first 2 years would be that $1,612 in the monthly rate, plus the $399 for the first child under the age of 18, another $399 for the second child under the age of 18. You are with the veteran for his last 8 years, so you're eligible for another $342 under the 8-year provision. And then, because you need assistance, you're eligible for aid in attendance, which is another $399. And then, you're also eligible for that transitional benefit for those first 2 years, which is an additional $342. So that would mean in that situation, that particular person is eligible for $3,495 through the DIC benefit. So at the end of those 2 years of that transitional benefit, up until those children age out, that particular dependent would be eligible for $3,153 per month. Now, I took that example directly from the VA webpage on DIC. So if you need to see it in writing to understand that better like I did, it's right there for you. I was very, very surprised at how well thought out it was and the amount that's provided. There is also a rate for a surviving unmarried adult child of a veteran when the veteran's surviving spouse is also eligible for DIC. So this child is eligible if between the age of 18 and 23 and in a qualified school program, and they will receive $338. If they became permanently unable to support themselves before the age of 18, they are eligible for $680. This monthly payment is made separately to the adult surviving child, in addition to the eligible surviving spouse's compensation. For a surviving eligible child of a veteran, when the veteran doesn't have a surviving spouse who is eligible for DIC, The payment is based on the number of veterans eligible surviving children. Now, you are an eligible child if you meet at least one of the following requirements. You are under 18, or you are between 18 and 23 and in a VA-approved school program, or you are permanently unable to support yourself due to a disability that happened before age 18. That rate is $680. As we move into discussing the VA survivor's pension, it's important to note that if you are eligible for both DIC and the survivor's pension benefits, you will receive whichever benefit gives you the most money. You cannot get both. A VA survivor's pension offers monthly payments to qualified surviving spouses and unmarried dependent children of wartime veterans who meet certain income and net worth limits set by Congress. You may be eligible for this benefit if you haven't remarried after the veteran's death, and if the deceased veteran didn't receive a dishonorable discharge, and their service meets at least one of these requirements. The veteran entered active duty on or before September 7, 1980, and served at least 90 days on active military service with at least 1 day covered during a wartime period. Or the veteran entered active duty after September 7, 1980, and served at least 24 months or the full period for which they were called or ordered to active duty, with at least 1 day during a covered wartime period. Or the veteran was an officer and started on active duty after October 16, 1981, and hadn't previously served on active duty for at least 24 months. For more information on what those wartime periods are, you can find all of them on the VA's website, and again, I will have links in the show notes so you can easily find it. Now, for the pension, your yearly family income and net worth must meet certain limits set by Congress. The definition of net worth through the VA is the value of everything that you own except for your house, your car, and most home furnishings, minus any debt you owe. Now, the new limit is set to be announced any day now, so go ahead and check VA's site to see what it's going to be for this next coming year. Children of deceased wartime veterans may also be eligible if unmarried and one of the following. You are under the age of 18, or you are under age 23 and attending a VA-approved school, or you're unable to care for yourself due to a disability that happened before age 18. You may want to submit an intent to file form before you apply for survivor's pension benefits. When you notify VA of your intent, you may be able to get retroactive payments. It also gives you more time to gather the documentation necessary to prove the value of your assets and those owned within the last 3 years. All right, final topic that only applies to retirees, the Survivor Benefit Plan. Now, SBP provides eligible beneficiaries with a form of benefit called an annuity. An annuity is a monthly payment for the lifetime of the beneficiary. Election to participate in this program is usually made at the time of retirement, although some situations allow a retiree to add coverage after retirement. In most cases, the cost to participate are deducted from the retiree's monthly pay and are based on the amount of coverage a retiree elects. DFAS, or the Defense Finance and Accounting Service, manages this program, not the VA. It is critical that DFAS is immediately notified of the veteran's death so that A, retirement pay stops and there's no overpayment, and B, you can start collecting under this program. One other note, there is no income limit for DIC or SBP, so both full payments are authorized now. This is a relatively recent change, but you are authorized full payments for DIC and SBP at the same time. Remember, vets, you can help yourself and your family out right now by submitting an intent to file a disability, no matter your age or medical issues. A spouse cannot file a disability claim for a veteran, but they can be the substitute claimant if the veteran dies during the process, as long as the veteran has initiated that intent to file for a particular disability. It's not too late to file for things that can help your family. Don't let the paperwork headache stop you. Taking this one step helps with these benefits, as well as so many others that can make a huge difference when you're gone. If you've got questions about this episode or brilliant ideas for another one, please let us know. We're on Facebook, Instagram, we have a website, and we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to like, follow, and share to help us empower veterans and their families. And if you like what we're doing and want to support us, check out our micro donation page at Buy Me a Coffee or our website at mtnvalor.org. See you next week.